Okay, do we have sound now? Now we have sound. Well, that's weird. I just had to plug the mic in and unplug it. I wandered back to refill my water bottle right before the stream, and I wonder if wandering out of range with this little microphone and this is a lav mic, so there's a receiver over there on the camera. I guess getting out of range unsynced it, so I just had to sync it real quick. All right, well, you can't go very long without some kind of technical difficulty, I suppose. It's just one of the rules of being a live streamer, and not like having a producer or a team or anything, right? Okay, so here's what I was saying. We've got a giveaway for tonight. We're gonna give away some beautiful albino koi guppies. I'm gonna do the shipping report. And then I'm gonna show you some new fish that we have here at dansfish.com. So let's get to it. We're gonna start with the shipping report. Sounds like people can hear me now because I'm not getting more reports that they can't. No sound again. Okay, hang on. Before I do the shipping report, I'm gonna make sure people can hear me because it looks to me like people should be able to hear me. Can everybody hear me? I'm just gonna wait till people confirm that before I go on. Sound is good. Hello. Sound is good. Okay, cool. All right, excellent. Shipping report. We are now at 98.52% success rate for the last 12 months running, 99% success rate for the year. We had two large issues this week. One was a shipment of Tropheus that did not do well, so my apologies to that customer. And the other was, like everything that went to the Pacific Northwest seems to have been delayed a day. And one of those boxes was grounded in Salt Lake overnight, and it was really cold in Salt Lake, and they were just left out on the plane, and so those got too cold. So those are the two issues we had. Beyond that, there's one or two here or there. But in general, shipping went well, except for those two shipments. So to the recipients of those two shipments, my apologies. I know we've already refunded one, and we will reship the other one. And it's horrible when that happens. It is a very small percentage, though, and we do everything we can to prevent that on our end, and our success rate's pretty good. But I know it's a bummer when you're the person that, the statistical bell curve nails with the very seldom, but it's going to happen issues. So doing well, though, in general. 99% over the last 6 months. Now, because of those two issues, we're not going up towards our goal of the 99% for the year. We want to go in the up direction. So we'll keep working on that. I am in talks actually with some packaging companies to see if we can find some packaging with a little tighter tolerances. So maybe there's not as much heat seepage on the seams of the boxes or the seams of the styro liners inside. Although that's kind of it's a bit of a game because you do want a little bit of air exchange or the heat packs won't work. The heat packs need exposure to some air. But we're looking at some kind of different styles of boxes and styrofoam liners to see if perhaps we can get something that will hold the heat a little bit better. Now, we're talking about edge cases here. 98.52% for the last 12 months running, so that includes all of the winter from last year and everything. It's pretty darn good. It's hard to do much better than that, but our goal is 99%. So anything we can do to just scrape away a little bit more and get a little bit better, we are working on that process, and we're continually working on that process. So that's where our mind is at as a company. And by the way, I should say this, almost always when the fish are delayed, they still do well. Unless I think that they're going to overheat at their destination, I put in heat packs that'll last quite a while. Like most of the heat packs that are going out will last 60 hours or more. Every now and then, though, there's a situation where I'm shipping somewhere and their high might be 75, their high might be in the 80s, and then I'm like, ooh, I want to put a heat pack in that will kind of taper off before it gets to that temperature because I don't want to overheat the fish. Overheating the fish will do more damage I think, than them coming in a little bit cool. So there is, a few edge cases where I actually have to put in a heat pack that will get exhausted before that package reaches that customer, or it will overheat. Sometimes this will happen in like Florida or Arizona or places like that. So there are a few cases sometimes where if a package is delayed, the heat pack's just not going to be firing anymore, because I'm trying to time that so the fish arrive at the right temperature. But even in those cases, it almost always works out. Usually when there's a delay, the boxes are kept in like a UPS warehouse or hub somewhere, and there's heat in there because they have workers in there. But the case with the plane that couldn't make it to the Pacific Northwest and got grounded in Salt Lake, that just sat out on the tarmac. They're not going to be, unloading that and everything. They're just going to be waiting for the go signal to when they can get to the Pacific Northwest. So in a case like that, if a box happens to be in a spot in the cargo hold where it's, I don't know, right up against the edge or something where it's colder. I mean, I don't spend a lot of time in airplane cargo holds, believe it or not, so I don't know all the variables, but every now and then when there's a delay like that, there's a problem. But almost always they still make it in good shape. We try to pack the fish so they'll last a couple days, just in case of delays. So that's the shipping report. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good, and we're seriously tweaking and doing everything we can to figure things out here. We run lots of tests. We have all kinds of gadgets that help us record temperatures and things to help us figure out, if we make this change, does that help at all? If we wrap the heat packs this way, do they burn a little hotter? All these things we're trying to figure out. So anyway, that's our commitment. We'll keep trying to figure it out. And we'll be reporting those discoveries as we go along, because we want everyone to be successful shipping aquarium fish. That's a big part of our hobby these days. And we want people to be able to do it and the fish to, not suffer because of it. So that's kind of our goal. All right, with that, let's get to the giveaway. Oh, that's interesting. Big Steve's Aquatics and Exotics. I received the rainbow gobies. Unfortunately, they sat on my steps for about 3 hours in the low 50s, and they were still at 72 degrees in the box in Maryland. They're thriving, fun to watch. I'm glad to hear that. 72 degrees, that's kind of great. That's not so hot that the fish's metabolism is going real fast, but it's not so low that they're going to get stressed. So I like 72 degrees. Yeah. All right, so let's go here to the giveaway. So this is the fish that we're going to be giving away today. This is the Albino koi guppy. These are bright as the sun. Absolutely stunning fish. There's certain fish that just draw you from across the room. This is one of those. Hang on, I've got to fix something. Got an issue here with the green screen. Okay, there we go. Oh, now it's over there. Eek. Tolerances here are quite tight. Okay, got it. I think I got it. Anyway, lovely fish. These come from a farm in Israel that does a good job. They, if you've watched the Aquarium Co-op tours of the Israeli farmers, they have some high-tech systems and they grow some amazing fish. And what I've noticed about the farms from Israel that we purchase from is that there's consistency. You can tell the line has been worked really nicely because it's consistent. Fin shapes are fairly consistent. Patterns and color distributions are fairly consistent. As opposed to lots of our other suppliers for guppies that you'll get 50 of them and it's like no two look like they're from the same parents. That can happen sometimes. We actually have kind of weeded those suppliers out. Now we know who the good ones are, but that often happens. So I really like guppies from this source. I think they're higher quality. They do a good job working their lines. Their Achilles heel is shipping. That's the Achilles heel of the entire industry pretty much. But we've worked with the farms and they have agreed that they will ship the fish to us in much lower densities. So when the fish arrive to us, they aren't crowded and they have much less exposure to ammonia. And so they tend to thrive a lot better. They're more expensive because you double the freight cost per fish, and freight is very expensive when you're transporting fish. But I think it's worth it because then we don't have losses and the fish just will thrive better for you as well. So we're going to be giving away a pair or two of these. And if you would, I mean, the nice thing about guppies is I feel like I don't have to go into the care and everything. I think we all know pretty much how to take care of a guppy. If you don't, just add water and add food. I mean, that's being simplistic and facetious, but they're one of the easiest fish to take care of. Great fish for a beginner, and they'll give you tons of babies. Although I have discovered with the albino type guppies, they tend to eat their babies a lot. So you will need dense plants or some kind of breeding trap or something to separate the babies from the parents. And I think that's one reason albino guppies tend to be a little more expensive. I think it's just harder for the breeders to collect is large amounts of fry because they tend to want to eat their fry so much. Anyway, if you would like to enter to win these, enter hashtag Guppy in the chat. I'm sure most of you already guessed that. Hashtag Guppy, that's hashtag GUPPY in the chat. No spaces, capitalization does not matter. And you will be entered to win a pair or two of albino koi guppies. Really pretty fish. Again, the best way to describe them is they'll grab your attention from across the room. They're that bright. Okay, so we've done the shipping report. We have done the giveaway. And folks, there are 259 people here. Thanks for being here, everyone. That's a good turnout for this little channel. I appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind sharing this out to someone that you think might enjoy the stream. We're trying to grow this channel. We're trying to grow this stream. And your help would be appreciated. Thanks so much. Okay, let's get to something that's kind of exciting, I think, which is some new fish that we have here. And the first one I'm going to show you, I think, is super exciting. This is a type of hillstream loach that I don't think I've ever seen this one before. It has a double red on the tail, has red on the top of the tail and the bottom. If its tail was spread, you'd see a thick margin of red across the top and the bottom with some normal colored brown in between. My first time seeing it, and so anytime I get in a new fish, I tend to geek out quite a bit. And these are exceptional. Just that they have kind of this Sowelia. I don't know if they're Sowelia or gastromyzon or pseudogastromyzon. I really don't know. We're guessing they're gastromyzon. But they have kind of that reticulated hillstream loach or butterfly hillstream loach pattern, but with some really neat color. So that is something that gets me exciting. I think hillstream loaches are amazing just because of their behavior and their personalities. They're like nothing else in the fish world. So I don't think they need anything extra, but there are some species that have some extra. And when you can get them, I think it's pretty cool. Now, we don't have a lot of these and they are expensive, but if they're in your budget, I think that we've been enjoying them a lot. And by the way, I don't think we've had any issues with these. This batch has been rock solid. Some Empire gudgeons, just about the prettiest fish in the world when they fire up. And by the way, this picture does not capture their beauty. They're prettier than this. This is a male. It's getting a nice big nuchal hump. In the orange, you can kind of see it coming in here, but it's bright orange on these fish. I did my best, but in person, here's some young ones just starting to get some color. And the females are pretty much brown with a little bit of the kind of black patterning in the fins, maybe a little bit of color in the females. But nice batch of these. Some more neon green Kubutai rasboras, and I can't get a picture that captures their green to save my life, but nice healthy batch. If you're looking for a nano fish that is peaceful and you can get a big school of them together, these will be awesome for that. And they really do have a nice green color. I just can't capture it very well with the camera. Some albino cardinal tetras. These are fairly small. They're under an inch, but they're doing great for us. So they're small, but they're hardy. Or if you like the regular albino tetras, these are small as well. So just be aware of that. They're smaller than our last few batches, but super hardy. Like they're going to be great for you. We haven't had any problems with them. Some more Emperor Carry tetras, some more red lizard whiptails. Beautiful little whiptail. I don't think we still know for sure if this is a wild fish or if this is some kind of hybrid or if this is a different species of whiptail and there was a line that's been bred to be red, kind of like a super red. I don't know if we have those details for sure, but as they grow, they get more and more red. When they're young, they're pretty much brown mottled color. Rummy Nose Tetras, another really nice batch. Some Platinum Rummy Nose, and these are doing great. I know the last a batch we had a little while ago had some problems for people, but the ones we have now I think are pretty solid. We shipped out a lot of them, and I think there was one loss of all them. I don't know how many, but lots and lots and lots of them that we've sent out in the last 7 days or so. One loss is all. So even though they're fish with a reputation for being touchy, and maybe they are a little touchier than most fish, we figured out how to get them to you in pretty good shape with a few minor exceptions. Every now and then there's an issue, but they'll do well for you in general. Some more Pseudomuga illuminatus. We've been out of this for a while, so it's nice to get those back in stock. Haven't had leopard tenopomas in for a long time. The ones we have now are not very big. They're around, what do we have here? 1.5 inches, so they're fairly small, but that's half the fun. These are gonna grow and you'll be able to experience that as they grow. They become really neat kind of wet pet fish. These, believe it or not, are related to bettas. They're an anabanthoid type, anabanthoid adjacent, I suppose. These in the microtenopomas and the walking perches and all that. So, neat little air breather. Finally, we're able to get some more sharp-tailed gobies. I know several people have been waiting for those. We've been trying and trying and trying. It's just not a fish that's available very commonly, but we have some more in now, and these are amazing. I haven't been able to capture a picture of it, but they often furl this dorsal fin and spread out their tail fin and their anal fin, and it's just like boom. This thing's massive. This dorsal fin is huge. They spread it out and wave it around when they're displaying. I see it a lot. I just haven't been able to capture it. Orange Venezuelan Cory is one of the prettiest corridors you can get without, totally breaking the bank. Glow Light Danios. This is probably Gastromyzon tenocephalus, but since there's so much confusion with the identification of hillstream loaches, we're just calling it the spotted hillstream loach. Neat little pattern. All the neat behavior of a typical hillstream loach. More dwarf anchor cats. We all know it, the neon dwarf rainbow. We were able to release some more Stiffodon anniae. We have been out of those for quite a while, but we have some more in stock right now. This one's special. These are the best quality Manakapurus I've ever seen. We've carried Manakapurus in the past. These have more red. Their fins are straighter. Their ventral fins are not all crooked and stuff like sometimes they can be from different breeders. We got these from Germany, from Aquarium Glacier, so they're pricey, but I think that reflects their quality. And by the way, we didn't get them and be like, oh, those are good quality, we'll charge more for them. We're not charging more than our normal markup. In fact, on fish that are expensive, we tend to charge less than our normal markup. But the stuff from Germany just costs a lot. But the quality is there. We shipped one of these out today, so I can't wait to hear from that customer what they think. I think these are the best redbacks that I've ever seen. Like, this is me that took this picture a few days ago, and I'm no good photographer. And they really look better than this in person. They're amazing. Some humpback limias, been out of these for like a couple of years. So it's great to have some more of these in stock. The Liberty Molly, a Pacific Molly. I have never seen the Pacific Molly before, so that's a new one for me. This is a marbled, a koi type angelfish, but they're calling it the yellow-headed panda. So yellow up on the head, black and white on the body, maybe a little yellow on the body on some of these. But mostly yellow on the head with some black and white. So yellow-headed panda, I think, works. This is a wild type platy. This is the purple platy from Belize. I've never seen this fish before either. So we've been able to get some pretty neat stuff out of Germany. There's some breeders there working with some just neat stuff that I've never seen before, so I had to try it. Speaking of neat stuff, pygmy swordtails. This is, until a few weeks ago when we got these in, I had never seen these before. And they're breeding up a storm, by the way, dropping tons of babies for us. These are the best calico bushy nose I've ever seen. The contrast of the orange on black is really stark. And the batch has been rock solid. We haven't had any losses in this batch. Did I get more pictures? I don't. Yeah. Like, it's not your typical kind of tan on black that you get in a calico. These are really orange. Again, good looking stuff. One of my favorites, I've bred these many times over the years, had colonies of these going. This is the red-chinned, or sometimes they call it the firemouth killie, red-chinned panchax. Epiplates de Gei, these are the ones from Monrovia, and they are gorgeous. They get these kind of greens and blues in the fins with these iridescent highlights, black margins, a little sword on the bottom of the tail fin on the males, and orange on the mouth. This was the best shot I could get of kind of that fire chin that they get on the mouth. There's a female. In typical killifish fashion, the females don't have a lot of color, but they do have some pattern on these. And then another male just showing kind of the, again, that wash of greens and teals and yellows in the fins, and then that bright kind of flame mouth. I love this fish. This is an old favorite of mine. Another favorite, Fundulopanchax emiatii. Fundulopanchax is my favorite genus of killifish. My favorite killifish, if I had to pick one, would be Chromaphiosymion bivitatum from Funge. But if I had to pick a whole genus, it would be these. I love Fundulopanchax. They're large, they're hardy, they're usually fairly easy to breed and fairly prolific. And I think that takes us back to the last time we went over what fish were available. Is that true? I can't remember for sure. Oh, I don't think I talked about these. These are similar to the Egyptian mouth brooder, same genus, Pseudocrenolabras. But these are an undescribed species. They're from Rahua, and these are beautiful. They have spangles all over, some red on the body, nice iridescent cheeks, and they're breeding all the time at about 2 inches, 1.5 to 2 inches. We have several females holding. So they're like a mix between a Rift Lake mouth brooder and like a Westie in how they behave and in their brood care and everything. Let's see if there's any others. This is a long-finned white cloud, but this is the Linni strain. They used to call this Tenecthes linnii or linni as if it was its own species, but it's not. It's just a strain that's been carefully developed for a long time. I failed to get a picture of a male, port side with its fins spread, but this kind of gives you an idea of the length of the fins and the colors. I'm still working to get a better picture. But man, fish are the hardest thing ever to photograph, I swear. But one day I'll get a broadside with them actually displaying and spreading their fins. I think I've carried on enough, but we have some other stuff here that's pretty cool as well. So that's some new stuff. There's more that isn't at the top here. If you want to see that, scroll over up here, go to about page 4. I don't have pictures of the flame paradise fish yet, but they're pretty spectacular. They're a red fish with blue, like, flame fins. Blue flame paradise fish. Oh, here's a great picture. Yep, that's about what they look like. Although I'd say the red on the body is more red than that, but this gives you an idea of the red and the blue on them. And by the way, they're scrappy, so all of the males have tails that are a bit tattered. Oh, here you go. This one doesn't show the blue as well, but it does show what the red on the body actually looks like. This is a good picture. That's pretty. Oh, here we go. There you go. Red with the blue. Of course, all these fish, how did they find some that hadn't been combating? Just so you know, their tails, they've been nipping at each other. They've been establishing their pecking order. They're not in horrible shape or anything, but they aren't nice and smooth like that. Let's see, what else? So this one is amazing. This is a Soloensis. This one's not the Skull Creek. This one's from Moa Island. And it's, Skull Creek's my favorite rainbow ever, but this one might be my new favorite rainbow ever. I mean, they look very similar, but this has just a little bit different coloration and pattern. Unless I'm just reading that into it. They're very similar. And some other cool stuff. So, oh, I will say these, we have a couple strains of CW14s, the red lasers. These ones here, the ones that are harvested from nature, this is probably the best batch we've ever got. They're big and they actually look nice and red. A lot of times the red laser cories look kind of like gold laser cories, even though they are red laser cories. There is a subtle difference, but this one, the difference is pretty clear. Especially if you look side by side, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's pretty red. So I do really like our group of red laser cories that we have in right now. We have some that were aquarium bred and raised as well, I think. Red. Okay, we have this one that doesn't say where it came from. And these ones look pretty good as well, but they're not as big. These ones that we got from, I believe we got those from Peru, are big and their color's really bright. So, oops, I'm not showing it. These ones are big and their colors, the one without a picture, big and the color's pretty darn bright. So if you had to choose between the two, I would go with those. They've been rock solid for us, even though they're not aquarium bred. Those were collected from the wild. They've still been rock solid. That's the ones I personally would get. Okay, with that, I'm going to scroll up because it's time to get to your questions and comments. Now that I've kind of gone over what's new here and jabbered on for 29 minutes, jeez, 343 folks here. That's amazing. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you all being here. We almost cracked 500 once. That's our record. But we were giving away a L236 super white pleco. So, you know, we had a lot of folks in, I think, because that was a pretty exciting giveaway. Albino Koi Guppy, still exciting, but not super white pleco exciting. You know, I get it. But with that, let's get to your questions and comments. Before we do that, I want to thank my moderators for being here and doing what they do every week, which is step in, volunteer their time. Such a generous thing they do for us every week, and helping moderate the chat. Where is the membership button? I believe that's just, well, can you just click over there? No. Let's look where the membership button is. If I open an incognito tab, I should be able to do this as if I was you. YouTube.com, Dan's Fish. Okay, so I'm incognito right now. So if we go to our channel, it should be right here, join. So subscribe, and next to it is join. If you click that button, then that should make you a member. Okay, Ryan Fish Adventures. I have 6 red whiptails, and all research I have done says that they're a crossbreed. But if they are natural, the location is lost. Right, I hear that too. I hear, hey, they're a hybrid, or they're a developed strain, or they were harvested from nature, but we don't know where and where to find them again. So I hear all 3 of those. I have yet, though, to find anything definitive. So, yeah, I'm in the same boat. JTI Aquatics has been a member for 8 months. JTI, thank you. Really appreciate your membership. Cali Dehumanization throwing in a super chat. Thanks for the moolah. We very much appreciate it. It's not showing me any chat with that, so if you did leave one, I can't see it. I apologize. This is what I see right here. It won't let me do anything to see any chat. So, but thank you so much for the super chat. Any fish will do. Love that username. Bardsdale Golden's been a member for a month. Hey, thanks for being a member, Bardsdale. Hey, Dan, you mentioned in one of your recent videos that you may have some Adolphi Cory soon. Any news on those? No, we're still waiting to get some definitive identification. Someone that's more up on that than I am. When I looked at them, I thought I saw little tiny spines on the back of the pectoral fin, but I could hardly tell for sure. So we've sent some information to someone else to get a better idea. So I'm still waiting on that, Bardsdale. Scotty the Fish Freak. Hey, Scotty, hope you're doing well. Love all the killies you have in. How are the mystery ones coloring up? Also, Emi8i are cares. Glad you have them. Funnellopanchax are my favorite too. The mystery ones, are there mystery killifish? Is that what we're asking about? Mystery. Oh, I know the ones you're talking about. You're talking about the ones that Johnny took home. Yeah, so Johnny took those home. Hopefully he can breed those. So we got these contaminants in with our butterfly barbs from the Congo. And it was like, that's either a little baby cyprinid or a lamp-eye killifish. What is it? Hyphesopanchax? Hyphesopanchax. Hypsopanchax? Oh, I forget the name of that genus, so I can't look it up. But it's a really interesting little fish, and as far as I know, they're doing well. I don't know if they've got that. They get a little reddish on the fins, from what I remember. I don't know if they have that yet. I haven't seen them since Johnny took them home. Kelly Foreman gifted 5 Dan's Fish memberships. Kelly Foreman, thank you. Mwah. Much appreciated. That's one of the best things someone can do to support our channel is give memberships. Because the more members we have, the harder we roll. And Nick Schultz, welcome to the Fishmonger crew. Thanks for becoming a member of the channel, Nick. Cheers. Evergreen Psyche says, Todd Geis's wife had trouble tagging you, but was trying to let you know that he passed away last Friday. Well, that's the worst news ever. I'm so sorry to hear that. Man, that's just the worst. Well, I'm so sorry for your loss. My best wishes to you. Beyond that, I always feel like anything I could say would just, possibly hurt. So I tend to stick with that. But thinking of you, thinking of Todd, and I'm so sorry. Really, truly. It's hard to get back in the swing after hearing news like that, but I'm going to do my best because this is a fish show. He was a lover of your channel and everything you do and really appreciated you during his time here. And I want to look something up real quick about this. See if I can do a thing here. This should be quick. If not, then I'll give up. But okay, just one moment. Yeah. Oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that. I just wanted to make sure this was the Todd that I was thinking of. Lived out in North Carolina. purchased from us several times. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to try to move on because this is an aquarium fish stream. But again, I'm just so sorry to hear that. Nick Schultz, I received my Limia nigra fasciata tomorrow. Really appreciate the species profile video you have up. Any other tips or info on these guys you can provide? Honestly, I feel like if you can keep swordtails, you can keep Limia nigra fasciata. Super prolific, very hardy. They'll eat anything. Make sure you give them plenty of veggies. As long as you have plant cover or something like that in the tank, the babies will just grow up right in there with the parents. Just squirt in some baby brine shrimp a couple times a day and you'll get a lot of yield of babies. But you don't have to. You can just feed pellets and crushed flake and stuff like that, and you'll get many to survive. But for the ultimate yield, I would feed baby brine shrimp a couple times a day. And I say swordtails and not platies because I think that their temperament is maybe a little more along that of a swordtail, where the males can be a little combative, than a platy. So if you can keep swordtails, you'll do fine with Limia nigra fasciata. Beautiful little fish. And man, I hope you get tons and tons of babies. Ryan Stone on Canadian Gaming. I really want to order off of Dance Fish, but my wallet is always eating my money. I hear that. Almost as fast as my fish eat their food. Yeah, we had some, as a family, we had some unexpected expenses this month, and I feel you. I feel the pain, brother. Like, so this business is growing like amazingly, but for a little while longer, we're still at the point where it's like we're still on ramen wages. We're still putting all back in the company. Until the company gets sustainably out of its startup phase, you don't want to be, you want to be putting everything you can back into the company so you can get out of the startup phase and into sustainability as quickly as possible. So I think that's, we owe that to everyone who's working here, which is weird to say because they're on ramen wages with me, but we want to get this up and running in a sustainable way as quickly as possible. That'll be better for everyone in the long run. I owe that to my investors, to everyone, to kind of get there. And we're so close. We are so close. At the rate we're growing, we only have a few more months before we hit our sustainability markers. We're kind of there now. No, not quite. We're right on the edge. And we've been on the edge for a little while, but it's like we're on the edge and leaning. Let's put it that way. So I can't wait to, at the end of the year, when we've got the yearly financials all figured out and everything, I can't wait to call the meeting with everyone involved in the company and give the report and let them know how we're doing, because we're doing amazing. And it feels good, because there's been a few times when it's been like, are we going to be in business in 3 months? I think every startup goes through that kind of like, oh, those moments. Especially when you try to scale. There's a lot of risk in scaling. If you don't do it just right, ooh, that can hurt. Kelly Foreman, let's get the fancy ramen this month for Christmas. Oh, Kelly, thank you so much for another, well, the first one was memberships, not a super chat, but thank you for the super chat and the membership giveaway. Yeah, we might put an egg in the ramen with that super chat money. I mean, who are we kidding? It's all going to go right back in growing the company, but thank you. Much appreciated. Lizzie LaBelle. Hey, good to hear from you, Lizzie. I recently acquired a breeding group of the electric blue Carpintis cichlid. Once they are bred and paired up, I'd love to sell you some and donate. They are amazing in color. Please look them up. Okay, electric blue Carpintis. We'll look that up right now for everybody. Electric blue Carpintis. Oh, that is beautiful. Yeah, look at that bad boy. Whew. Yeah, it would be hard not to be intrigued by that fish. Now, that being said, I know next to nothing about Carpintis. They're bigger and probably a little more aggressive than I usually play with, so I'd have to kind of dig in, Lizzie, before I knew if I could source any from you. I tend to avoid things that get real big or can be so aggressive that they cause a lot of problems, especially for an uninformed customer. At this stage in the business, that's what I tend to stay with, is kind of the more peaceful community stuff. But so I'd have to dig in and see if they're right for us. But man, that's pretty. Thanks for sharing that with us. And I hope the babies do really well for you, because that's stunning. Aaron Eustace throwing down a super chat. Thank you so much, Aaron. Much, much appreciated. Along with any fish will do for one more pack of ramen. And not to be outdone, here's Alex. Hey, Fishtery, the secret history. Good to hear from you, my friend. Thanks for all you do. I'm so happy to hear business is hitting its mark for growth. Well, you're a big part of that, Alex. You and Bob Steenfont and Simply Betta and Corey over at Aquarium Co-op. You're all helping push that along. So thank you for your support. You guys have all been amazing. Dance Fish is the business and ethics this hobby needs. Thank you and your team. Hey, thank you for your support. And we're trying. Like every time there's a shipping problem, it feels like, we're not doing what we want to do. But then I just have to look at statistics and remind myself, really, can you do better? I don't know. I don't know. We're trying. We'll keep trying to do better. I think we're pretty close to that edge, though, where it's hard to do much better. I had a question actually for you, Alex, which was you left a comment on the tour video about, I know what it was, the copper mollies. I had never seen those before, so I assumed that they're a new color morph. But you said in a comment that they're a hybrid. Is that, I'm assuming it's Phenops with a sail fin, Latipina. Is that correct? And how long have they been around? Because this is my first time ever seeing them. And the price they commanded made me think they must be brand new, because they cost me a lot. But it could also be that it's just a really nicely worked strain. I mean, they do look stunning. So I'm curious, Alex, could you give me some more information on that? I guess a lot of mollies are hybrids. That's not a surprise. That's like saying swordtails are hybrids, or platies are hybrids, or, endlers are hybrids. I think that's to be expected. But to me, it seemed like kind of like a brand new thing. I'd never seen something like that before. So could you school me a little bit? I'm curious to know more about those. Brian, yes, the Limia Perugiae are the Greg Sage line. Someone later in chat chimed in and said that I had said in the video about them that they are the Greg Sage line, if I'm not mistaken. So the answer to that can be found here. If you go to Dance Fish videos, we have a tour that we did with the breeder where we talk about their origins. It's right here, this one. Breeding lots of fish in a small space, Scotty's Fish Room Tour. We talk about the origins of that fish line. And yes, I believe in that video we talk about them being from the Greg Sage line. Alpha Remington, do you sell pest snails for my puffer fish? We don't sell pest snails. So the way we operate, there's so much time and labor in packing fish and snails and shrimp and things the way we do for our customers that I can't really sell anything for less than $5.99. If I do, I'm literally, I might as well just light money on fire and throw it away. It costs a lot to do things the way we do it. And so I don't think I can really sell pest snails because in order to make it, to get enough to feed your puffer, it would take so much time and space and money to ship them humanely that I don't think it would be worth it. So that's not a business I'm going to be getting into. But man, any fish nerd neighbor should have a ton of pest snails. Or can you set up a tank on the side and just grow your own? You can get so many going that you should be able to have plenty of snails going. If you, even a 10-gallon or so, you should be able to get tons of them going. Nick Schultz. I received my Limia nigra faucet. Oh, we already had that one. So I'm going to go to the next one, which is, here we go. Cali dehumanization. Oh, what a name. Will you be getting any pipefish or darter tetras in? So I don't have any plans to bring in pipefish. We have had them in before, and we've bred them actually and raised them and sold the babies. So there's something we can do. But they're another one that I have yet to find a supplier that sends them consistently well. So that's a species that I just decided for now not to do. There's no supplier I know of that will that gets them to me in good shape consistently, and so I just don't feel like that's fair for the fish. But they're one of my favorites. I grew up with pipefish. My fish godfather, Jim Forche, had pipefish, and I used to help care for them growing up. I love them, but I don't know if I can do those. I will sometime, as I find new suppliers or, you know, work with current suppliers to make sure they're done right. I will sometime. But right now is not the time. And darter tetras, which one? Are you talking about a Characidium species? Or are you talking about like a black morpho darter or something, a Weitzmanni? It just depends on which one you're talking about. I hope to be getting some more black morpho darters in from Germany soon. I hope they show up, and I hope they're in good shape. But until they show up, I won't know for sure. But I've ordered more. Yes. Okay, the next one I can see because chat just jumped is survival of the fishiest. Love those diptails. Yes, Nanostomus equus, a great pencil fish, the diptail pencil fish. Those in the hummingbird tetras and pea puffer I got are doing great. I want more of the hummingbirds. I wasn't sure about them, but they are my favorite. Super nano. Yeah, tiny little fish, but I don't know how yours are, but ours come right up to the front of the glass and beg for food. They're not shy. And there's not a lick of decoration or plants or cover in there for them at all. It's literally a bare tank with an air stone. They are right up front. Every time I walk by, they're like coming up there like, is it food time? Is it food time? Right? That's them. So hopefully yours are out and about and bold like that as well. And then kind of that like see-through crystal glass fish, but with the color that they get, I'm with you. I think that's an awesome fish. Nick Schultz, thank you. Sorry for spamming my question a few times. You're forgiven. Someone slapped Nick on the wrist with a ruler. Cool videos from a cool guy. Green Sailfin Molly thoughts, getting wild ones Friday. My best advice with mollies would be hard alkaline water and deworm, deworm, deworm. I would for sure put them, I'm not a veterinarian, but if they were mine, I would put them through praziquantel, metronidazole, flubendazole, and levamisole, for sure. We've learned how to do that. In the past, we've had mollies, and they come in, they're like, they're great, and then some time would go by, and like, they're getting pinched bellies. What's going on? Then you deworm them, and a few weeks later, it's like, hey, they're back up. They're fat and sassy, so it's obvious that something's going on there. And since then, we've got a little more legit. We have some veterinarians that help us diagnose in things. But in general, mollies, in my experience, need deworming. Now, that being said, I'm getting mine from farms. I know nothing, Jon Snow, about wild ones. Okay, Brian Watson. Some great looking nanofish to view from atop in the pond. Are you asking? I would highly recommend gold white cloud mountain minnows because they're bright gold, and so from the top you can see them clearly. The best are Miyuki white rice fish. Look at this fish, Miyuki. Okay, they literally have a bright iridescent neon stripe along their back that you can see here. So from the top, they glow. They glow brightly. Like, see this? See all this iridescence on the top? When you look at them from above, it absolutely shines. By the way, this picture does not do them justice. It's like very shiny, very bright. So for a small fish in a pond, I like that a lot. There's also some guppies, though, that have really shiny dorsal surfaces, and those look amazing in ponds. Not all strains, but I'm blanking on some of the specific strains. Blue turquoise I find to be that way. Some strains of blue turquoise where they just have that iridescent scaling on the dorsal surface. So that's what I would look for. Small stuff that's brightly colored from the top like those. Yep. Jeff Kane, Rye Guy, if you're lurking on your new channel, reach out. Okay, Jeff Kane calling Rye Guy. Jeff Kane calling Rye Guy. Hey, Jeff, thanks for being a member for 15 months. That's pretty awesome. Okay, I'm scrolling here, and now I've got to the rusty nut. In your personal opinion, what would be the ideal tank mates for the Jack Dempsey cichlids? Rusty, I don't have a lot of experience with kind of the larger, more aggressive American cichlids. I haven't kept a lot of them. So I don't know. I know who does know. My friend John Niemans could tell you. But I don't have enough experience with those to really make recommendations. I have some decent-sized electric blue Jack Dempseys, and with some full-grown archer fish, some large cories, a juvenile mountain grunter. You know, fish that are assertive and can kind of hold their own, and so far I haven't had any problems. But long-term, full-grown, I don't have much experience, especially when they go to spawn. So I am not the right person to answer that question. Sorry, I wish I was. I think the ideal tank mate for a Jack Dempsey is a large tank. Yeah. The bigger the tank, the more likely you're to have success with tank mates would be my general advice. Lizzie! They are stunning, easily about 7 inches total. The female in breeding dress gets a beautiful black and blue. Oh, yeah, they looked awesome. K-Bat, I have a couple of guppies that are sick. Most obvious symptom is white discoloration on the face that looks webby. Fungus or bacteria? Hard for me to know. Even when I'm looking at it, unless we actually take a scraping and look at it under the microscope or stain it or whatever, I still might not know. Webby. Okay, not quite sure what webby means, but if it's like little spikes protruding out from a dandelion, like a dandelion head kind of, little transparent spikes that protrude out and they're kind of straight, my guess would be some sort of saprogenoa, which is a fungus. Just a guess, though. There's maybe bacteria that could present like that. If it's not like that, if it's not like sticking out, like, well, let's show you saprogenoa. Okay. Oh, it's not saprogenel, it's saprolegnia. Saprolegnia. Okay, I said it wrong. But see how it's kind of like a dandelion head that all these points stick out from a central spot? There, you can really see it there. Kind of straight lines that stick out. Oh, these are kind of gruesome, these pictures. See if we can find one that's like under a microscope. Ah, Looks kind of like a beard, like individual hairs of a beard. If I saw something like that, my guess would be Saprogenella. Just be a guess, though, without a diagnosis. If it's not kind of protruding and kind of just slick on the surface, then my guess would be maybe bacterial. But again, without really looking at it, I don't know because they can present the same. Something I learned this summer when we had our veterinarian in residence here helping us out was how much I don't know. How much I thought I could look at a fish and be like, oh, that looks like this, and be wrong. So now I'm very cautious about that. Mega Mindy Lou, I have a stack of fish shipping boxes from you. I can't bring myself to throw away. Do you think an LFS would take them? Do you want them back? I mean, I would take them back. I have to buy those. So I would definitely take them back and reuse them. The issue is shipping them to me, back to me, is probably going to cost more than they cost new. Would your LFS take them? Probably not, because most LFSs get shipments of fish all the time, and what they're trying to do is find a way to get rid of their styros. But what I do think is if there's any local fish clubs or anything, I think folks could use them there, if nothing else, to transport fish, to and from the auction or whatever. So, or someone purchases some fish at the local club, something nice and insulated to bring them home in or something like that. So that would be my best thought. Something else we've done, our boxes might not be big enough for this though, is we've at times got a hold of the local food bank, and they have perishables sometimes that they have to go and deliver around, and they can use insulated boxes for that. Just throw a clean, plastic liner in there, and they can put food in there. Those are the best uses I've found for extraneous styrofoam lined boxes. Kaler Reptiles and Aquatics throwing out a new super chat. I've never seen that one before. Thank you so much, Bob. I hope you're doing really well. Good to hear from you. And John, not Jan, John Janowicki, I hope I said that right. Do you think 4 male and 3 female golden wonder killifish in a 20 liter would be a problem? I'm having trouble finding more females. 20 long. I always see the L and think liters. I think I'm talking to someone from across the pond. That might work okay. I would be more comfortable with like a dozen in there, just to help spread aggression. But 7, I mean, ideally what you would have if you only had 7 would be 1 male and like 6 females. That would be ideal. I mean, if you've already got them, you've already got them. And I'm assuming that's the case, in which case I would put in a lot of plants. I put in a lot of like floating water sprite, because you can't kill it and it'll grow long roots, and some foliage, and they can hang out up there and get out of the line of sight if they're getting bullied or whatever. Something like that floats and has enough of a root system and leaf system that fish can actually get in it to get out of the way. Would be my best advice for that. But a 20 long, yeah, that's a decent sized tank. That's 3 feet long. So, I mean, I'd give it a shot if you've already got them. Sorry, I needed some water so bad. In that pause, we went from 381 to 376. That shows you that you just can't have dead air on television. Troy Miller, any of those darter cories? Oh, the C or CW, I think it's CW 153s. I don't have any of those. I have one source for them. One guy I know that breeds those, and the supply is so very limited. They're not super prolific, and they're super pricey. So I do get them when I can, but they're not a fish that they breed in large quantities or breed all the time. So I'll keep trying, but at this point, it's going to be the spring before I can get more. Troy Adams, after watching your video on it a few times, I finally decided to try my hand at cultivating blackworms. Wish me luck. Yeah. clean water and lots of food. That's it. That's the formula. I mean, really treat them like fish. Clean water and give them food, but not so much food, you know, that it rots in there and stuff. I think sometimes we think, oh, they're worms, they can take it. And they can take it to an extent, but you want to keep the water nice and clean. Robert Lambrecht, is the yellow gold gardener eye the same color morph? Yes, I believe so. There's a different one, which is the albino, but I think the yellow and gold is used interchangeably. Swamp Thing, hey, Swamp Thing, good to hear from you. If only my kids, you saw how big some of them are, would be happy with ramen wages. This Thanksgiving, they were chowing down on roast beef breakfast lunches and dinners. Yeah, that's what Thanksgiving's for, man. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think part of the reason that I think this company is going to be successful is because me and the other people have been willing to sacrifice the finer things for a while. One of the, you know this, Swamp Thing, I know that you're a savvy business guy, but this got me thinking about this, that one of the things I think that can kill a company real quick is just lack of runway. Like, you run out of cash. Then what do? Well, you're done. You're done. So I remember back when the dot-com bubble burst, I had a roommate that was working at a dot-com, and a few weeks, okay, so I went in there and they had all this, they were loading in all this neat furniture, these beautiful conference tables and these stunning desks and the trappings of success. I mean, it looked, it was beautiful. And I was impressed. I was, you know, early 20s, I think. I was like, man, these guys are doing good. Well, a few weeks later, they were bankrupt, out of business, and my friend went and bought a desk from them at, like, you know, a fraction of the cost of the original because they had gone out of business. And that lesson has stuck with me, that the trappings of success are not important. What's actually important is success. You can't, like, you can't fake the success by having the fancy desk. So literally, I am right now working at a 6-foot-long folding plastic picnic table, portable picnic table from Walmart. Like, that's my desk. And that's on purpose. Because I wasn't going to spend, you know, a couple $100,000 on furniture and get the company in trouble. So that's kind of who we are here. We're like, does that forward the mission? Nope. Okay, we're not putting money into it. We're putting do we need it? Yes. Does it forward the mission directly? No. Okay. We're putting as little resource into that as possible. It's kind of how we've been doing things here. And it's fine with me. I don't need the fancy stuff. What I need is to fulfill my mission. That's what I need. Cool videos from a cool guy. What are the spotted fish behind you? This is the giant emperor tetra. Crybits, is that the species name? Giant emperor tetra. Giant spotted emperor tetra. Kyberzi. Well, I was kind of right and kind of wrong. And we have several available right now. They're nice and big. They're, geez. Estimated size at shipping, 1 inch to 1.7 inches. Johnny, can we update that? I think these guys have grown to like 3 inches now. I don't think any of them are less than 3 inches at this point. So we really need to update that. Johnny, if you're listening, let's get that updated. When we listed these, they were little. They've grown quite a bit. They're one of the neatest fish ever. But, man, we have sat on them for months. Enough for them to grow from 1 inch to 3 inches. And I'm not sure why. I hear a lot of chatter about them. I think they're really neat, but they're not one that's selling really well for us. So let's see if someone has better pictures than I do, because my pictures are not great. Oh, yeah, here's some good pictures. You can always count on Aquarium Glasser to have the good pictures. Look at that. It's showing the actual color. Oh my gosh, feast your eyes. That is beautiful. So anyway, that's probably female there, I'm assuming. There you go. So anyway, yeah, we've got a nice mess of them. They're healthy and happy, and we've raised them up from wheat hikes. But they're literally $9.99. You know how much money we're losing on that fish? I think we'd have to actually sell these for like $34.99 to make money on them. But once we realized no one would buy them, we're like, maybe if we sell them at $9.99, at least we'll recoup something. So if you want them, we've got a great group. They're long-term here at Dan's Fish, and the price is silly. That's a stupid price. Fishery! As I understand it, I saw them in Florida 1 year ago at a wholesaler, but your guess was correct. Then selected with iridophore cell mapping in Singapore. Okay, so we're talking about the copper molly, a new fish, for me anyway. These guys, they're really expensive, and I'm not jabbing you on that, guys. They cost me a ton. Really neat fish I had never seen before. A hybrid between Latipinus and Sphenops. And I believe that once that cross was made, that now they're being line bred. I don't think that it's like a one-time cross and you have that. I think that was the original thing, kind of like, you know, platies and swordtails. Oh, I'm not even showing these. Here they are. Kind of like platies and swordtails to get the red wag into the swordtail. Well, yeah, it's a hybrid, but it's many generations into the swordtail side of the line. I just think they're cool. I've never seen a molly like this before. And I guess that explains why. Because they're, you know, a mix. Or like an Endler with a guppy. You know, it's that kind of thing. Okay. Brian Radovic, you might want to post that. Yeah, we should totally post the location on the Perugia. You're right. Sometimes I'm really bad at my job. You're absolutely right about that. In fact, I'm going to make a note and then it might happen. Perugia location. On website. Hey, we're almost 400 people. There are 399 people here. That's pretty good. There's 400. We just hit 400. That's great for this little channel. Thanks for being here, everybody. Much, much appreciated. If you wouldn't mind, if you're here, if you wouldn't mind taking a moment, share this out to, you know, an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend. Let's see if we can get more people in here and get some real drama in the chat. No, but seriously, if you know someone who you think might be interested in what we're talking about, let's get people in here. Okay, and Kids Aquatics and Exotics has been a member for 15 months. That's crazy that it's been that long, Bob. Been an awesome 15 months. Looking forward to 15 years. From your lips to God's ears. Timotheus Leahy. Wait, so there are 100 pure Endlers, or are they all hybrids? Okay. So there's different classes of Endlers. Almost all the Endlers in the hobby are hybrids. But there's a few that are pure strains. And by hybrids, I don't mean that they crossed an Endler with a Guppy and they took that F1 generation and are selling it. I mean, they crossed an Endler and a Guppy together to get some of the traits that they wanted from that other species, brought it into the Endlers, and then line bred it for many generations from there. And vice versa. They did this with Guppies as well. They borrowed some stuff from Endlers to make some Guppy lines. This is very normal in the aquarium fish industry. So we still call them hybrids, even though it might have been 100 generations ago that those genes got borrowed from the other species. And then there's pure line Endlers, which are actual Endlers who can trace their genetics back to a wild population and that has had no Guppy genetics, or even other locations in many cases, inserted into that fish. So yeah. I wish I had a snail problem. Man, I do try though. That's 2 40 breeders and a 20, and only enough for maybe 2 feedings a week, says Mountaintop Puffer Keeper. Yeah, well, in your defense, you do have a lot of mouths to feed. So, and the fish you're feeding are decent size, those puffers. So that makes sense to me. Alpha Remington says, thanks for answering my question. Hey, thanks for asking it. It's really nice that people are active in the chat, asking questions and getting discussions going. I appreciate you being active in the chat and asking questions. Thank you. Rusty Nut, I appreciate the honesty. Hey, you're welcome. I try to never be someone that spreads disinformation, although it's unavoidable. Sometimes I think I know something and I say it with confidence only to find out later that I'm wrong, right? I think we all can do that sometimes. But I try to just speak from personal experience, or if not personal experience, at least some kind of scholarly source or reliable source. I'm not perfect, but I try to. Andrew Purr, do you think a 4-foot by 2-foot by 16-inch high aquarium would be good for long-term for an Oscar? Honestly, I would, personally, I wouldn't want to see if I was keeping an Oscar, I wouldn't keep it in anything less than a 6-foot long tank long-term. They just get big. I don't know if you've seen one that's full grown and big and in good health and beefy. They're a big fish. So that might be overkill. A 4-foot tank might be just fine. But for me personally, I would go with the 6-foot. I think 125 gallon. Yeah, that's 6 feet long, but you'd want 2 feet front to back, I think, at least. So that might need to be a little bigger. K-Bat, it's lined flat like they swam through a spider web. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that would be bacterial or fungal. I'm sorry, I just don't. I think it could be either one. I don't think we can know by just looking at it on the fish with our eyeballs. Michigan Fish again. Hey, good to see you. He's a poet and he knew it. Fishy on Tanktix. If I win, give it to Vibes. Hey, Vibes. Good to see you. I mean, I don't see Vibes, but I'm assuming Vibes is here because Fishy on Tanktic says, give it to Vibes. Coro Works, we need someone to solve the fish shipping industry like Loop and TerraCycle, where the boxes are reusable or the recycling chain is streamlined. Wouldn't really work for you, unfortunately. Actually, I've been looking into that. That's part of what I've been looking into. I talked to a company today that... Sorry, I've got to get a drink. Oh man, that specializes in that kind of like eco-friendly packaging and stuff. There's not as much as I can do on my end. I can recycle, like I can put the cardboard in the recycling bin, but the styrofoam itself I can't do much with. There's nowhere locally that I can recycle it, unfortunately. I wish there was. But I talked to a company today trying to see if I could get, insulated boxes from them because they source their stuff in an eco-friendly way, and they just don't have it. So, but I'm looking. If I ever found a place that had the boxes in some kind of styro insulation type thing that was effective and did the job well, and would disintegrate in the landfill within, 18 months or something, that's a step forward at least. But yeah, I hate how much styrofoam this industry uses. It's not good, but at the moment, I don't think that we have anything that I'm aware of or have access to that I can use instead. Styrofoam is fun to use for dispersing the water so it doesn't toss everything in the tank. Yeah. Add it to the top of the water, then just dump your bucket in slowly. Good for shrimp and nano tanks. Sure. Bob Purcell, I assure you that floating water sprite can be killed. Bob's like, I know how. I have the secret. Oh, that's funny. It's one of the plants I can't kill, so it's one that I keep. Hey, by the way, I wanted to ask something. If you wouldn't mind telling me, I heard that I was pretty orange on some live streams, so I want to play with a setting here with the brightness and see if this improves things. To do that, I'm going to have to switch to the other screen for just a second. And then, could you guys tell me... Oh, shoot, where did it go? If this is any better. See, I don't like that as... Oh, to me, this doesn't look better, but is that better? Is that less orangey? Just curious. So I'll keep it here till I get down to that part of the chat. What I try to do is put the brightness up enough that you can actually see my eyes, even though I don't have good lighting in here. Because when I watch videos, I tend to watch people's eyes. I think that's kind of the connection point. So, and I have glasses and stuff, so I try to make it bright enough that folks can see my eyes. But in doing so, I might be accidentally like super saturating the orange. Huck, sending a bit of support your way. Hey, thanks, Huck. Always appreciated, never required. But we are a little startup company, so when money falls out of the computer screen and lands on our laps, it's just like a little bonus. You're not that orange, by the way. All right, good. Glad to hear it. And it looks different on different people's monitors, too, so maybe this was the person's monitor. Guppy Shack, I have family, in-laws in Thermopolis. Next time I go, I'd love to come visit. That would be just fine. We need some advance notice. Just send us an email, hello@dansfish.com, and let us know when you plan to be here. There are some times it doesn't work well. Like on a shipping day, we're all hands on deck, we don't have time to entertain. Let's just put it that way. And the last thing we need is someone gumming the works on those crazy busy shipping days. But on other days, yeah, we would love to have people around. Geek Boy, no more breathing and drinking. Got to keep the viewer numbers up. Right, I know. We're at 418 though, so yeah. Okay, let's see what happens here. 418, just a moment. Still 418. Nope, 416. There he goes. David Allen, I've kept fish for 20 plus years, I'm assuming, but historically, bad luck with cories. Oh, yeah. 8 I got last December, did great for a week, then died one by one with the exception of one. No signs of any illness. Any thoughts, cory toxin? So without being there and actually having a vet help, I wouldn't know exactly what it is. But what we have generally found in cases like that, there's lots of things it could be. It could be they were exposed to ammonia, and the effects of that are gradually taking place. That's a common thing. It could be that they have a parasite, and they're gradually losing the battle to the parasite. With cories, those are the two main things I would suspect. The first thing I always suspect is ammonia. I'm going to treat for parasites anyway, so that's a given for me. With cories and live bearers, and there's some other groups of fish that we've just worked up enough of them that it's like, okay, these are going to have parasites. But the thing I've learned over the last several months with the help of a veterinarian is the impact of the ammonia exposure that a lot of fish go to when they're being transported in the industry. And it's insidious and it's widespread, and it's almost not the case that they're not impacted unless specific steps are taken to make it so they are not impacted. And those impacts can be something like gill burn, where their gills are damaged and it just don't function right, and over time they die off, to literally internal organs being damaged by the ammonia. And then gradually over time, those organs can fail. So to me, those are the two main things I would think of when I think of cories. But again, I wouldn't know for sure. I'm I'm just guessing here, but from what I've seen, those are the first two little suspects that would enter my mind. Arctic Ram, I was watching one of your tour videos and thought Pseudochronolabris species rahua looked really cool. What kind of care do these guys need? They're a new fish, and I've never seen them before. I've literally got them in a 40-gallon breeder with a plate that's turned over on top of some pipes for kind of a hiding area and an air stone. And the group's doing great. They're breeding like crazy. I don't think they need a lot. I think the main thing is some hides, just so that competing males can kind of have their own little territories. And maybe females can get away when they don't want to spawn and the male does. Just like a typical, cichlid kind of setup. But really, they're eating everything. They're doing awesome. So I have not found any special care requirements for them. Steve Johnson, I'm thinking about building a tankless auto water change system with carbon filter block. Awesome. Should I worry about how to degas the incoming water on cold winter days? It depends. I ran for several years without degassing the cold water. My secret was I just did very small water changes. So they would basically had the solenoid set up on a timer so that overnight each tank would get, 20% water change, let's say, maybe more in some tanks, but they'd only get a few minutes at a time. So you do a few minutes in a 75-gallon tank, a couple gallons maybe, and then it would get off that row of tanks and go to the next row of tanks, and then it would be an hour or two before it came back around and injected a few minutes more of water into that tank. So they get a little bit of water, and then it would move on, and that would have time to gas off and stuff. And it wasn't enough of an injection of fresh water at a time to cause gas bubble disease, which is essentially the bends. Now, I did once have a solenoid stick on, and we could not figure out what was going on with these fish because the water parameters were perfect. No ammonia, no nothing. And some of the fish were having a real hard time. And again, these water changes were happening overnight. So I wasn't seeing the issue. Eventually I figured out, I forget how how the light bulb went on, but I figured out that there was a solenoid stuck on. So instead of getting a little bit of water shutting off and then going to the next tank, shutting off, going to the next tank, and then coming back in an hour or two, it was on the whole time as other tanks were getting water. And so that row of tanks was getting way too much water, and it was affecting the fish. So it's really about that. How much volume are you changing, and how much time are you giving between, so there's time for the little bit of gas that is in there to kind of, degas before the next bit is put in. So we had really good luck with that. Oh my goodness, as I live and breathe, he's back. Alexander Engelhardt, it's been too long, my friend. Thank you so much for gifting 20 Dancefish memberships, but more than that, it's just great to see you on the chat. Although I do hope that doesn't mean that the activity that you usually have scheduled on Wednesdays went bye-bye, because that might sound trivial to some people, but I know what that activity is, and it sounds very important to me. But Alexander, good to see you, Mr. Engelhardt. Paul Soltero, the little engine that could is building up speed. Yeah, the business is going well. And it's not perfect, though. Oh, man. Like, most things are going really well, but, whenever you're shipping, I swear we picked the hardest business to do. Shipping live fish. You're just, no matter what you do, there's going to be this small percentage of failure. And it's small, thank goodness, or I wouldn't be doing this. But every time it happens, it kind of guts us a little bit. And then we're like, okay, is there anything we could do? Like the Tropheus, when I gave the shipping report, I talked about some Tropheus. They had the right heat packs and stuff for that size box, for that temperature. I don't know what happened, but they arrived cold. Now, I don't know how cold because they didn't actually give me a temperature. And so sometimes we might feel a bag with our fingers and think that's cold. But unless we actually measure the temperature, I don't know how cold. Maybe it's actually 72 degrees and your hands are warm, so it feels cold. Like, I don't know. So the customer reported they came in cold, but I have no sense of what that actually means. But the point is, sometimes you do everything you can, but the box is, I don't know, set somewhere for a long period of time out in the cold. Or in this case, it got on a delivery truck like 8 or 9 a.m. and was on that truck until it got delivered in the evening, if I remember right, like 5:30 or something like that. And it was really cold there, and it must have been like on the floor in a back corner or something where it was the coldest part of the truck. Because despite knowing it was cold and putting in the heat packs to prepare for that, they still arrived potentially, we don't know the actual temperature, but too cold. So there's stuff you can't control, and it's constantly something we worry about. But our strategy is this: we're going to, everything we can control, we're going to optimize. And we have optimized, and we'll continue to optimize. And that way, once it gets out of our control, it has the best chance possible of arriving in good shape. So that's kind of how we do things. And doing that consistently over the years, people have seen the difference. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work, but almost always, 0.52% over the last year, it's worked. So people have seen the difference, and the word is spreading. And it's spread enough that people like Corey from Aquarium Co-op have come on board and said, yeah, we'll support you. We'll affiliate with you. And that, and Bob Steenfont, who did it quite a while ago, and the other affiliates, that's just awesome. By the way, for those who might want to help this little engine pick up steam, this is the homepage. If you scroll down, we are affiliates with Aquarium Co-op. So if you click this link, it'll take you to Aquarium Co-op. And if you buy something, we'll get a little taste. So that's another way to help us out as well. All right, with that, I guess I'd better. Pippi Longstocking is here. Kayla's Reptiles and Aquatics has thrown down Pippi Longstocking, which means it's time to do the giveaway, and Vibes Aquatics concurs. Let's get the thumbs popping, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and do this giveaway. There are 422 folks in the chat. There are 290 eligible users for these beautiful albino koi guppies, and the winner is Juna Kabul. Juna Kabul, first of all, thanks for being a member of the channel. That's much appreciated. You have 2 minutes to chime in and let us know that you're here. I'll set the timer now. Google timer 2 minutes. So leave something in the chat. Leave some kind of comment to let us know that you're here, because you do have to be present to win. You're here. Okay, Juna Kabul is here and has won. Awesome. Let me close that timer. Congratulations. The last thing you need to do, Juna Kabul, is send an email to hello@dancefish.com. That's HELLO@dancefish.com with your first name, your last name, and your mailing address, because we need to know who we're sending it to and where to send it. And then we'll get a shipping date set up with you and get you some awesome guppies. Thanks so much for participating, and congratulations. That's great. It's 8:30, so that's good timing. Oh, wait. One thing, I see Gary Lang here. Matt M says, Gary Lang mentioned Dancefish about a new tetra species yesterday on the next Watercolors Aquarium Gallery podcast. Oh, cool. Matt, thanks for letting me know. I'll listen to that, see which tetra he's talking about. Yeah, it's been neat working with Gary, trying to bring in some neat rainbows and stuff and get them spread around. Love him or hate him, you have to acknowledge he's done a lot for the rainbow fish hobby. So I appreciate that, man. Okay, with that, let's close this out. I want to do that by thanking my moderators, because I just think it's so awesome that they volunteer their time every week for an hour and a half and don't ask anything in return. They're just here helping us out. So thank you. So generous, and we appreciate it. I want to thank everyone that gave away memberships. And Alexander Engelhardt, it's so good to see you again. I really appreciate you being here. Oh, where was I? Oh, Super Chats. People that threw money at us. Thanks for throwing money at us. If you were lively in the chat, thanks for making it poppin', as they say, or used to say. I'm old. If you're lurking, hail the Lurker Nation. If you're listening to the replay, hello from the past. And if you're listening on the podcast, then thanks for listening. Okay, we'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. I believe that's true. There is an import coming, but I have a driver all set up, and that should take care of itself. So yeah, I should be back next Wednesday. Until then, have a good one. Bye-bye.